They actually harvest a lot of the data from your checkout pages and then sell it to other brands.
Oh my god, yo, they're moving like Temu. Oh, yo, any of you guys using buy now, pay later, you're cooked. The buy now, pay later trap explained. Let me show you guys. It's by Grant Rudo. I don't know if I said that correctly. It's the first video by him I think I've seen. So anyways, let's get straight into it.
Why is pay in 4 so addictive?
They literally once
Words. Nah, actually nah. I don't really do that stuff much.
financed a bottle of body wash.
You know what? I'm gonna afterpay this. It's gonna make me feel less guilty to pay
Is Afterpay like Klarna and like all that?
it in 4 installments of $81 or whatever.
That's like having a black American Express to me. I can use it anywhere, anytime I get ready.
I'm using Klarna to pay for these Chris Brown tickets.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Look at this chart right here. This shows the total non-housing consumer debt in America over the last 10 years. And in 2024, Americans
Yeah, I don't. Never mind.
collectively owe more than $5
Oh, non-housing. Raw.
trillion, which is enough to pay for every
That's how much debt you all in. Know me.
NFL, NBA, and MLB team 10 times over. And to make matters worse, we are constantly surrounded by psychological tricks and hidden fees to drive us further and further into debt. The worst of these tricks, the buy now, pay later programs that have been designed to take advantage of young adults.
So when you buy a $100 pair of shoes and you only have to pay $25 that day, and then the pair of shoes show up at my apartment 3 days later, the shoes are $25. Why do
What?
I care if in 2 months I have to pay another $25? I don't know me 2 months from now.
The thing is though, like, I feel like it's not that bad if you do it for like one thing, you get me? If you pay for one thing, you pay £25, and then if it's just one thing. But like, I feel like it gets to a point, you get what I mean? Like, if you know you're going to be able to afford it, like, what I do is I put the money aside, you get me? But that's what I do with my credit card. I pay everything on my credit card and I just put the money aside, you get me? With only 5 trillion with only 2 Americans. Yo, that's a crazy violation. I hope nobody from America's watching
She
this.
can deal.
But I can't lie, you know, I feel like if it's like you have like 5 things that you've got to buy now, pay later, then that's just like, you were just like cooked.
with
Buy
that.
now, pay later is a
You know, 5 things, say 4 things, that are £25. That's already £100 a month. Damn.
short-term financing option that is offered by companies like Affirm, Klarna, or Afterpay. You'll typically see these options pop up on e-commerce stores, offering you the ability to buy what you want today while deferring your payment over
Fozy, you so cute, appreciate that. Sorry if I offended everyone, it's cool. I need to figure out a way where I can get up chat on when I record my videos.
for a certain number of installments. So if you're looking to buy a new suitcase for a trip you have coming up and it's going to cost you $300,
Okay, you know what? I thought this was a sponsor for a second.
instead of paying that all today, you could buy the suitcase today and then split the $300 across 4 equal
Ooh, hell no. Hell no.
interest-free payments. And you might think, great, interest-free. I can just sign up for these payments and then worry about paying it sometime later down the road. But it's not quite that simple. These buy now, pay later programs aren't necessarily groundbreaking financial technology.
I can't lie, I always, like, when it's stuff like this, like, I've never used Klarna or anything like that, but if it's a credit card, like, I just put into all the money that I spend on a credit card, I put the money into a savings account out of my bank account, so I already have the money there to pay it off, if that makes sense. But I don't know if that's just my way of thinking, because, you know, I don't know if that's just my way of thinking, because I do accounting and stuff, but I just think, you know, even if I pay on the credit card, that's still a debt, right? And if it's a debt, that's the same as me just, you know, just being in minus, you get me? So like in my mind, it makes sense.
In fact, buy now, pay later programs are kind of a newer, modernized version of the old school
Like when I've got paid, because my credit card renews on my payday, I've never had to spend more than £50 out extra from what I had in my savings for the credit card, because I've got a separate savings account for the credit card, so everything that I owe on there, I just put on there to pay later, so then I just boost my credit score, you get me? But I don't know.
layaway programs.
Roaring Thunder, yo, I watched that earlier, bro.
Programs that you would see at stores like Kmart and Sears. These layaway programs allowed you to place a deposit on an item like a dishwasher, for example.
God damn, I sounded like a nerd a second ago.
And then the store would reserve that dishwasher for you to collect once you had paid off the dishwasher through their installment plan. But these layaway programs kind of fell off throughout much of the mid-20th century, mainly due to the introduction of credit cards and revolving lines of credit. Instead of using a layaway program and waiting to collect their item, people could just swipe a credit card, get their item today, and then worry about paying off that over the next couple months or years. The only problem is that a credit card will incur interest. People realize that if they didn't pay their credit card down on time, they would end up owing more than they initially spent on the item. So along came the modern marvel that is buy now, pay later, which gave you the best of both worlds. Get your product today, pay it off over a longer period of time, all while doing it interest-free. And that idea began hooking people in, because buy now, pay later has seen...
How many people do you think are actually in debt from Klarna? Actually, I need to search that. Many people are in debt from Klarna. Alright then, cheers Google.
some explosive
Useless, bro.
growth over the
Everyone. I've never used Klarna, bro.
last 5 years, going from $2 billion in
I've got a credit card, I don't use Klarna.
transaction volume in 2019 to $24.2 billion in 2021, and it's projected to reach as high as $122 billion in 2025. But this explosion
Wow. Yo, Klarna really, yo, don't do it. Don't do it. Never pay for something on Klarna. Bro, I had one of my boys, he bought a pair of shoes on Klarna. We were on holiday. He lost the pair of shoes like 2 weeks after he bought them, and he had to pay he had to pay for the shoes that he lost for 3 months.
explosion wasn't just happening in a vacuum. It's actually part of three major
Appreciate that, bro.
cultural shifts that we've been seeing. First
Do that.
is the financialization of everything, meaning we've moved from a completely cash-based society to a society in which we look at even
Safe,
a
bro.
$5 coffee as an opportunity to finance the transaction. Second, we have the rise of
Yeah, bro, especially stuff like that, that's just dumb, bro. It's like, yeah, let me pay off this coffee in 3 months. Like, bro, what? Just pay it now. Who doesn't have enough money for a coffee? A coffee's like what? Like £3. You're telling me you're about to Klarna for £1 a month? Really? I think he legit just left them somewhere. He went out, he changed his shoes. He was going to some like fancy place, so he put on like business shoes and he just lost his shoes, bro.
social media driven consumption. As influencers showcase luxury lifestyle and products, buy now, pay later allows the average
He was so cooked, bro. He was so cooked. He was actually so cooked because of that. Like, it's so dumb. Like, I wouldn't use Klarna, bro. I use my credit card. I wouldn't use Klarna because I don't. Is there any actual benefit? Does Klarna help your credit score? Let me check. Does Klarna? Yo. Why does TikTok do this, man? My fault. Your credit. Not really, so pretty much no.
consumer the ability to experience those same things
I don't know. It just TikTok bugs out sometimes. That's why I don't like streaming on TikTok. But I stream on TikTok for now. But I think in the future I will move over to YouTube and Twitch.
without actually incurring the cost today. And third, we have the post-pandemic spending boom,
So there's no actual real reason to use Klarna. Just use a credit card because that actually helps you.
which has consumers using buy now, pay later as a form of revenge spending or buying things they feel like they missed out on
Damn. I'm 3 minutes into this video. I've yapped so much.
during the pandemic. Combine all of that with a declining financial literacy among most young adults, and you have the perfect storm to make buy now, pay later explode as a new
It's calling you lot dumb.
mentality. But why is this even a problem? If they're not charging interest, how can they actually be taking advantage of me as a consumer? To answer that question, we first need to look at the differences between buy now, pay later programs.
I feel like it's a psychology thing, you get me? Like, you think, oh my god, it's cheaper, so it lures you into paying for something that you might not be able to afford.
And traditional credit cards. Because on the outside, they're basically the same thing. Both financial devices allow you to buy something today that you might not necessarily be able to afford or be willing to put cash down today for. But a credit card,
I will never buy something on a credit card that I don't have the money in my bank account for. I don't understand why people would genuinely buy stuff on their credit cards knowing or thinking, oh yeah, I'll pay it off next payday. And then you get laid off and it's like, bro, no, you can't pay it. Or, you know, something like that, or certain emergency comes up, or da. You get me? Like, if you don't have the money in your bank account for it, you don't have to buy it, you know, unless it's like you have to, like it's supplies or something for work or school or something like that, then it makes sense. But if not, then you get me.
Usually involves some sort of approval process, application, review, and a credit report hit. Meanwhile, buy now, pay later programs offer an almost instantaneous approval for your purchase in the moment.
What? Oh, before you get a credit card. Okay, that makes sense.
Additionally, as we discussed, credit cards can accrue interest if not paid off by the end of the month. And that rate can be at crazy high rates, usually around 19 to 23%. On top of that, if you're late with your payment or you miss a payment, credit card companies can also add on late payment fees that just end up waterfalling you into insane amounts of credit card debt off of fairly simple purchases to begin with. And on the other hand, buy now, pay later offers 0% interest, which sounds great, but that all depends on if you actually pay your payments on time. If you don't, you'll be subject to late payment fees that can range anywhere from $2 to $15 per payment and going all the way up to 25% of the total value of the purchase you made initially. And with all that said, buy now, pay later still might sound like a perfectly good alternative to credit cards, which is exactly what they want you to think. Because buy now, pay later
I still have never opened a buy now, pay later account, never opened Klarna, never opened any of these things.
Programs weren't necessarily designed to help the consumer like you or me.
Yeah, it's because like you get me. It's a business. They're profiting from it. It's not. They're not looking to help you. They're looking to make it look like they're helping you. So you want to spend money and give them money.
They were designed for stores and brands that want to sell more through their website or in their stores. After all, that's why brands are willing to pay 2 to 3% more for their transaction fees to use a buy now, pay later program versus a traditional credit card processor. To give you an example, let's look at a $100 purchase. If you bought a $100 item using a normal credit card on their site, the brand was typically going to incur about a $2.50 charge to process that payment. And on the other hand, if you were to use a buy now, pay later program, that transaction fee that the brand has to pay goes from $2.50 to about $5. But the merchant fees,
so they screw you pretty much,
are just the beginning when it comes to buy now, pay later. So let's look at how these companies actually make money beyond just charging the brand that hosts them on their website. First, like we just discussed, they're going to collect that merchant fee, which is anywhere from 4 to 6% of the transaction price. Second, they profit from late fees, like we talked about earlier, which has turned out to be a pretty substantial revenue source for companies like Affirm and Klarna, because 1 in every 3 users of these buy now, pay later programs actually ends up missing a payment at least once. And third, every purchase that is made reveals something about you or your shopping habits.
Wow, 1 in 3, they sell your data too. Yeah. No. Hell no.
And these companies have realized that that is very valuable information for other brands. So they actually harvest a lot of the data from your checkout pages and then sell it to other brands.
Oh my god, yo, they're moving like Temu. Oh, yo, any of you guys using buy now, pay later, you're cooked. Oh my days.
That can then use it in their marketing or in their ad target. And finally, they benefit from the sheer volume of loans being opened up by packaging yours and everybody else's debt together and selling it to larger financial institutions. They can make money even when you pay on time. In other words, they've created a system where they win no matter what happens to you financially. So now let's look at buying an iPhone for $1,000. When you reach the checkout page, you have 3 options. Number 1, pay the full $1,000 up front. This is the simplest, cleanest, and easiest way to get out of the checkout scotch-free. Option 2, you could use a credit card with the typical 22% APR to purchase the phone. And if you only made the minimum payments, you would end up paying about $1,480 over the course of 5 years, with $480 of that being the interest alone. And option number 3 is you could use Afterpay's 4-payment installment plan where you pay $250 today and then $250 every 2 weeks until the plan is paid off. Which sounds like the best deal to you? You see, brands have mastered
paying instantly cash. That's the only. If you don't have the, anyone watching, if you don't have the money for it, you don't have to get it. Especially if it's something like a phone. Like if you've got a phone that works and you want to get a new phone, it depends why you're doing it as well. Like if you're financing it for credit score, fair enough. But if you're just going, yeah, you know what, I want a new phone. There's no point. There's no point. If you don't have the money for it right now, don't get it. Like I look a bit greedy for having two phones, you get me? Like I've got two phones right now, but like I never upgrade. I've had this phone. This is the quickest I've ever upgraded. I've had this phone a year and I've upgraded. And this phone isn't brand new. My mate got a new phone. He had this phone. I literally was this, an iPhone 14 Pro. Bought off him 200. Usually second hand they go about 500-600, you get me? Like otherwise I wouldn't have bought it, you get me? Because I mean I can afford it, but like I don't need it.
Psychological manipulation throughout their website, but specifically on the last hurdle, which is the checkout page. And they do this through 4 key tricks. First, they exploit what psychologists call the pain of paying. By splitting the cost over a longer period of time, your brain actually registers less financial pain than paying the full amount up front. Second, they trigger what is called the temporal discounting, which is our tendency to value immediate rewards more than future benefits, or otherwise known as instant gratification. Pay just $25 today and it's yours sounds a lot better than waiting and saving up for it. Third, they will create artificial urgency by simulating limited time offers.
Yo, what are these random emojis you're spamming
in the checkout page? And finally, they use colors and shapes to direct your eye exactly where they want you to be looking. Have you ever noticed that the buy now, pay later button is often highlighted in a brighter color and it's sometimes even pre-selected when you reach the checkout page? These aren't accidents. These are specific design decisions to short circuit your brain to making a financial decision more on an impulse than with rational thinking. Instead of thinking about a $100 purchase rationally and over a longer period of time, they'd rather have you just click the pay $25 now and worry about it later on. And again, this isn't necessarily a bad deal because people are always looking for interest-free ways of purchasing things so that their money can go and earn them more money while they're paying off the other thing that they purchased. But to do so requires some financial education or experience. And sadly, most Americans are completely undereducated when it comes to financial literacy. So the instant
You know what I feel like? I feel like they should teach finances in school. They should teach finances in school because too many people don't know how to handle their finances. Too many people don't. And they end up getting into debt. You know? I'm lucky that I'm a bit nerdy, innit? Like, I'm lucky I'm a bit nerdy, you know? I've done decently in school. I work as an accountant, you get me? So each month, I literally have a spreadsheet. I get a spreadsheet, I get what I'm getting paid, and I know exactly what's going to be coming out of my account, subscriptions, everything. And then on top of that, I know what I'm paying rent, all of that, you get me, everything else that comes out. I've got like a long spreadsheet, and I know how much leeway I have, how much I can dip into my credit card, like in emergency cases, how much, because I don't understand how some people can just go not knowing what they can afford, you get me? Like, I get if you're living at home, you're not paying rent, but like, I don't know, for example, I could tell you off the top of my head, for rent, I'd roughly pay 500 to 700 a month. For my subscriptions, I roughly pay 210 a month. £210, and I could sit here and I could give a list and go through, you know, because I just know that off the top of my head, but I still go through it each month because, you know, but I feel like not enough people do that.
Gratification syndrome kicks in and they buy practically everything with buy now, pay later, with no real concern that they will in fact have to pay that off at some point. All they're worried about is the price that they will pay today, which is exactly how you end up with this.
I've done groceries.
I know my rough monthly expenditure, expenses wise, is probably about 900 on average. I'd say about £900 expenses wise, and everything else I get paid, I just keep.
I've done all kinds of crap on Affirm and Klarna, but it adds up and then you are in a chokehold. And in some ways, it is worse than having credit card payment.
God damn, 1,250 a month. You see, I can't lie, if I was in some situation like this, I'd probably say, oh, can I have an advance from work or something like that, and I'd pay back the advance over time with my salary, or I'd take out a loan and pay that back over time.
It's crazy.
Because buy now, pay later is so easy to do, people are starting to use it on more and more occasions where it's really not meant to be used. Instead of just using it on a big purchase like a new fridge or a TV, they're starting to use it on...
I can't lie, these things like credit cards, buy now, pay later, they're good if you know how to use them, you get me? Like, if you don't know how to manage your finances, they're leeching money off you. But like credit cards, stuff like that, you get rewards, you get certain rewards, you know, if you know how to use them correctly.
Smaller things and truly financing items that have no business being financed. A crazy story that we recently saw is that Klarna is now on DoorDash, which allows you to finance your $15 burrito over 4 payments of $3.75 instead of paying the full $15 up front. Again, not a necessarily terrible thing when looked at in a vacuum, but when you expand this to consider that someone who's financing a burrito is also probably financing a lot of other things.
Yeah, if you're gonna, don't finance a burrito, don't finance stupid things. I would only finance something if I needed it and I knew I could afford it.
That's when the real problem starts to arise. Bad spending habits like this lead to what we call loan stacking. Pretty much what it sounds like, taking out loan after loan after loan and stacking them on top of each other. And because buy now, pay later programs make it so easy to do so, most consumers don't even realize how much debt they're actually accruing. In fact, in 2022, 63% of buy now, pay later borrowers had more than one loan going at one time. And this is where it gets really scary. Because these programs are designed to offer credit with little to no approval process, it's almost like they're targeting people that don't know how to manage their money. All they see is, oh, I can buy this.
It's like Apple Pay. Apple Pay is like one of the worst things known to mankind. Like, if you don't know how to control, I remember when I first was starting to get money. Oh my god. It's so easy, just ching, and they make the sound so addictive too when you pay for something. Like, when I first started getting money, I was just Apple Pay, Apple Pay, Apple Pay, Apple Pay. But, you know, they make it so easy. That's the problem with these things. Like, they take advantage of you because they make it so accessible that it almost feels wrong not to use it.
This $1,000 thing for $250 today, and they just click buy. When in reality, over 69% of buy now,
the audio is glitched.
Now pay later users are already in debt on another credit card. And 28% of buy now pay later borrowers are between the ages of 18 and 24 years old. Most of these people don't even understand the concept of how a credit card works, and by giving them this buy now pay later option, it's almost like they have this unlimited stream of money that never needs to actually be paid off. Again, don't get me wrong, there are definitely some advantages to the system if you know how to play it, but the vast majority of people using the system,
that's what I'm saying. If you know how to manage your finances, then it's fine. If you don't know how to manage your finances, like everyone that's watching right now, I will tell you right now, if you don't know how to manage your finances, if you don't, you know, one thing about becoming an adult, you know, went quiet for me, oh, fair enough. One thing about becoming an adult is you're gonna have to look at your expenditures, your expenses, because otherwise, you know, you're not gonna have a clue what's going on. And when you don't know what's going on, you know, you can get effed so easily. Like, if you don't know how to manage your finances, don't get a credit card, please. Don't get a credit card. Learn how to use a credit card properly before you get one. Actually do some research, you know, because there's so many people. Like, I know people that are like one of my best mates, they're like 2 years older than me, you know. They're like, you know, I'm 18, so, and they're 20, and then like over $1,000 credit card debt plus loans. It's like, don't. The debit card's fine because, you know, it's just the money on your account. If you spend that money, then you just don't have the money. The problem with credit cards is you're spending money you don't have. So if you're spending money you don't have, and then, you know, and then the interest and all that on top of it gets peak. It gets peak. Like, it's very easy to go into credit card debt.
Are not taking advantage of it, they're just getting taken advantage of. So what do you do? As a consumer, should I completely stay away from buy now, pay later, or are there some circumstances where it makes...
do your research. Research. I'm gonna say this to you so many times. If you ever think about doing something like this, please do research. I don't want any of you man watching me to, I'm just warning you, because I don't want any of you man watching me to go into like any sort of credit card debt or anything like that. If you can't afford it right now, don't get it, because there's no guarantee that you will be able to afford it in the future.
Makes sense. And to answer that question, the most important piece of advice I can give you is to never spend more than you currently have, whether that be through a credit card or a buy now, pay later option.
What did I just tell you guys? Listen, the advice I give you guys isn't, you know, it's good advice.
If you don't have the cash in your bank, don't spend it. And that is by far the easiest way that you can keep yourself out of credit.
If you don't have the cash in your I use my credit card, not because I don't have the money, but to boost my credit score. I use my credit card for any payment I would usually make on my debit card, and I put the money aside, you know. I always make sure that no matter what, if I lost my job today, and say if they refuse to pay me when it comes to payday and I'd have to pay my credit card off, I could pay my credit card off.
Card debt. And if you feel confident in your financial abilities, feel free to use a credit card or a buy now, pay later option to earn more interest on your cash while it's sitting in your account versus just spending it immediately. But if you don't feel confident about this, treat your credit cards in a buy now, pay later program as if it's hooked directly up to your checking account. If you spend $100, that's $100 coming directly out of your account. Another tip I have is to avoid stacking these loans, because that is where things can get very messy.
Keep one credit card, 1 or 2 credit cards, keep track of them. Don't have like Klarna, credit card, and then you don't know how much you spent on each, because that's a dangerous game to play.
See very quickly. If you start financing weekly expenses like gas, groceries, or that Friday night Chipotle bowl, it becomes a slippery slope, because
put the money aside.
It is 100 times easier to get into debt than it is to get out of debt. But there you have it.
Put the money aside.
The truth about buy now, pay later. These companies spend millions of dollars on psychological research to get you to spend more than you can actually afford. But now you know a little bit more about how to protect yourself. And if you like this video, make sure to check out this video that covers the business of Formula One and how billionaires use debt to fund their crazy hobby of racing.
I can't lie, the type of debt billionaires get into is good debt, because they know how to, because they profit off it, you know. They profit off borrowing. Like if you look at any company, most companies are in debt technically. They're technically in debt. Like I'm not like a professional at this, you know. But most companies are in debt, but they're in the type of debt that they know they're gonna be able to pay off, and it actually benefits them. You just need to know how to be able to manage your expenses. Please do not spend any money that you do not have right now. I would never pay for anything on my credit card that if I don't have the money in my bank, then I'm not getting it. It's that simple. Anyways, hope you man enjoyed the video. Hope this educated you guys a little bit on you know, how to handle Klarna, credit cards, all that type of thing. But yeah, just take a few notes, you know. Anyways, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Afusa, peace out.